Hi guys, this is Zoshi and this is going to be two responses to two separate but tarot related hashtags. So hopefully that's okay because I don't have a lot of time left from my holiday, and after that I don't think I could find the time to do these, and I'm already late. The first one was posted in the beginning of July, the second is at the end, but it's already been weeks and months even. So I hope it's okay. The first one is going to be a response to Elemental Cartomancy's Chris's How Tarot Works hashtag, and the second one is for Anna from Astral Lady Tarot regarding how much of a cliche am I as a tarot reader. Okay, I'm gonna timestamp them both below so you can check if you're just interested in one of them. So first one, how tarot works. First question, there's only two questions. First question, does it matter how? And to be honest, no. I said it somewhere, or maybe it was just in my head, that I believe in dragons, and I don't care that dragons, if dragons are magical beings, that magic created them and they exist or existed because of magic, or if they were some sort of a animal. I don't like to use that word for dragons though, and they lived on earth as part of human evolution, and we just forget because for some reason I don't really care, because in the end I still have dragons and I do believe that they exist. And you might think that I'm crazy, but I just don't care. You have to have faith, and you can have faith in things, and my faith is that dragons are existing, maybe in Ireland or in Welsh, so I need to go there. So no, it doesn't matter if I don't need to know how tarot works exactly. I'm not someone who needs to know the exact technical detail. I'm kind of like on the opposite side, because if you take the magic out of it, then for me that's a loss. So yeah, I don't need to know how it works. I just know it works. And how it works for me, I don't know if when you're doing a reading, because I know people channeling. I see and I experience when people actually really channeling something. Now that it's is it the collective that they are accessing, which exists and it can be used, the collective knowledge, or is it something separate from us human beings? I don't know. But for me, how I look at tarot readings, that it's a conversation. You have a question, I pull a few cards and I say what I see in the cards or what it makes me think about the cards on top of that, and then it triggers something in you. It triggers a response. And sometimes it's the complete opposite. Even though I don't think I ever really run into someone who just flat out said that what I said meant nothing and it wasn't connecting to the question in any sort of way. I'm not saying it didn't happen, I just said that I wasn't told. But even when that happens, if you're asking about should you get a job and you get the Fool, and I tell you that it could mean that you need to take that leap of faith, but no one knows if you're gonna achieve with it something, if you're gonna achieve something with that new job, or you're just gonna learn a lesson and not be successful. It's going to make you think and feel in some type of way, and that is what you need to focus on as a coherent, I think. I mean, that's how I do it, and that's how I imagine it's a conversation. I'm not coming here and by laying out a few cards I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do or exactly how you feel, because that's not how it works, in my opinion. It's a conversation. It's a live thing. It goes back and forth. That's why readings with actual live participation are better than write-up readings. But there are limitations, and you can do those readings in writing a lot easier these days, especially. So I think that's all, and yeah, that is how it works for me. It's a conversation, and I love having the conversation. And okay, so the next one was the how much of a cliche I am. And to be honest, I wasn't sure at first if I wanted to do this, because I think that was my typical cliche Aquarius side of me, that I don't want to be anything like, most people are. I think it's all of us, it's a stupid Aquarius thing, but yeah, we all want to be different and unique. Sorry, dog break. Dog break. Okay, so where was I? I think I was telling you that I didn't really want it to do at first, because I didn't want to be a cliche tarot reader in a way, and I didn't feel like I was, not that I wasn't a cliche, I knew that I am. Just that I didn't think that my video would add to the lineup, so to speak. But so many people did it, and I watched quite a few responses, so I was like, you know what? I still want to do it. So, okay, I went back to the original video, and I have the prompt from that one, because there have been so many so good ones. But if I start doing all those, then we're gonna sit here for 2 hours, and nobody wants to do that. Okay, so first question. I have more than one version of a deck, and I'm almost able to say no, because before the Tarot Vintage came out, I only had one version of each deck, but because I have the Centennial from the RWS, now I do have two. But also, I might not keep that deck, because I just love this version, and I edged it, so it looks like a worn, handed down deck, which is definitely not, because it's all shiny and new and have a lovely cardstock. But I just love this one a lot more. It has a slightly thinner size, and I'm excited to pull this one out, because I wasn't connecting to the original artwork. I wasn't connecting that well to the Centennial, even though I really like the coloring on that. But this one, I just love the vintage feeling for some reason, so I'm definitely keeping this one up. And I might get a few other versions at some point if I feel like it, for study or just purpose of having them. I don't know. I don't want to say I'm not getting a deck, because that's a cliche thing to say, that you don't want a deck and then you're getting that deck. At least that's my cliche for sure. But yeah, so unfortunately, I am a cliched tarot reader on that aspect. But I don't have any backup decks, and reason being, I'm very careful with my decks and with all my possessions, with all my books. I have first edition, Hungarian edition of Harry Potter, and I'm very careful with them. They are still in a very good condition, and I take care of my decks. I'm gentle with them. I mean, at least I'm trying to be. If the cardstock is really crappy, then it probably gets destroyed. But to be honest, if that happens, then I probably just going to get another one, a different one along the ways, and I'm thinking about years and years from now. So I don't feel the need to have a copy. I have the Oak, Ash, and Thorn. Where's my finger? Here. And that's definitely one of my favorite decks, but especially because it was made from such a nice cardstock, I don't think that it would, ever be in such a shape that I wouldn't be able to use. And I'm quite happy when a little wear and tear gets into the deck, because it kind of shows that I used it. I like seeing people who use the same decks for 20 plus years, and you can tell that the deck is well loved and well used. I don't know, for me that just makes me happy, but I like getting and buying used books as well, so must be something there. Second, so that was the backup decks. Third one is tarot tattoo. Well, I do have tattoos, but I don't have a tarot related tattoo yet. But I definitely want to, and reason being, all of my tattoos mean a lot to me. So I don't have tattoos that are meaningless, and tarot is such an important part of my life ever since I started reading, that I can't imagine not having one related to it. Even though my skin is acting like really bad paper when you use fountain pen on it, I get, the ink starts feathering in my skin. So unfortunately, my skin is not tattoo friendly, which is annoying, but hey, I still want them. So at some point, I will have a High Priestess and a Death. Those are the two cards that I want to have tattoo related to them so far. I was thinking about getting actual cards, but I want something more subtle because I don't want people to be like, that's a tarot card, because none of your business. And the Spacious Tarot, I didn't pull it up, but Spacious Tarot has a lovely High Priestess with a seashell, seashell, and the moon is in it. So that's definitely how I want my High Priestess to be. But from that deck, I don't really connect with the Death card. It's two skeleton hands, and they're holding the RWS flower, this flower in between, and that's just not how I see that. So I'm trying to find a representative, maybe a site, I don't know. This might be a good idea, but I don't know. I don't have the image in my head yet, so I always have my tattoos. Well, when I started getting tattoos, I was just like, I want more and more. But now I sit with the idea and let it marinate, and when it's ready, I'm getting it. So not yet, but it will be. Okay, for tea. Do I drink a lot of tea? Well, I drink a lot of tea when it's winter because I freeze my ass off and I need something to warm my hands on. That's pretty much why I drink tea. I drink Pepsi Lime. It's not healthy. I know it's not healthy. Even though it's 0 calorie, it's just different kind of shit. But that's what I drink. So Pepsi Lime should sponsor me by this time, by the way, the amount of time that I mentioned it. So I don't read from tea leaf, and I think I was thinking about, when Anna said why it's a cliche regarding to tarot reading, and I think it's because if it's a form of divination. So people have that idea, I had that idea too, that when you go to a tarot reader, you go and you enter in a stuffy, incense lit, candle lit space, which is, there's not direct light, and there's a person who's drinking tea and reads from tea leaves as well, besides, tarot, because for some reason tarot readers have to know all the divination for some reason. At least that's the cliche idea that I have in my mind. So I think drinking tea is connected to that, or not, just my idea about it. But yeah, I drink it when my hands are starting to feel cold and I need to use them to warm it up. Because I'm that person who sleeps with socks on most of the time because my limbs are just that cold. Okay, 5 crystals. Well, I started buying crystals way before I had any idea what they were, or I still don't know. I still know pretty much nothing about them. I'm trying to be better, but I just bought this one because it's so pretty and the price was just really good. And I was like, I have no idea what these crystals do or mean, but look at the pretty. So yeah, I do have crystals, not a lot. This is my biggest one so far because prices. But I have bits and pieces over there. I have now Moonstone, which I use during new moon readings. I kind of just put it there. I don't know what it does because I'm not that sensitive energetically, and to be honest, before labradorite, which I only have a tiny piece, which I ordered from China and was completely sure that it's gonna be a fake one, but it wasn't. It's ready to be a pendant, but I kind of use it because you kind of hold it in your hand, and I use that. And this was the first one that was mentioned in Dustin mentioned it, Modern Metaphysics, in one of his live readings, that this is good for anxiety. And I was going through a really, really bad time. And I was like, I'm going to just hold it then. And if you're someone who wears a bra, this is a perfect size that you can put it in your bra and keep it there at your heart chakra as well. So just saying, when I go out, I do that, or when I know that I need to have a calming energy constantly because I'm stressed out, I'm keeping this on me. But what I started to say was that before this one, I didn't feel anything when I picked up a crystal. All I felt is just the pretty, like I got this fluorite from my sister. She picked it up for me because it was supposed to be good for writers, and I was starting with my novel when she picked this one for me. I sometimes I had it in my hand just to be like, okay, this is an extra thing that I can do, but I didn't feel anything. And I'm not saying the crystals are not like that, just that I don't feel them that easily. It's definitely changing ever since I'm doing tarot. I'm much more affected by the planetary things, which is kind of annoying because I don't know them and I don't have time to learn astrology as well. But Mercury retrograde is the one that's definitely affecting me in a way that I noticed, which for me is, like a complete newbie and a blind person to that. You can get some experiences that will prove to you in an experimental way that there is something with that. So I definitely would like to have a labradorite ring. Anna has, if you watched her video, and I'm assuming you did, or if you don't, go back and watch it. She has lovely rings, and I would like to have a labradorite ring, but I have tiny fingers, and that means that my ring size is about 5, I think, I don't even know if that's European sizing or whatever. This ring that I picked up, it's a dragon ring and tail. Hope you can see something from the tail as well. It was, this is adjustable, but I had to adjust it so tiny, which you can't tell because on screen it looks big. But yeah, I have tiny fingers, so even when I pick up the smallest size, it's usually too big. So I would need to go somewhere where they sell rings with labradorite and actually try it on to know, because most shops stop at 6 or 5, and I'm like, but I have really tiny fingers and I want rings. So I don't have a lot of them, a lot of jewelry, but I would definitely love to have rings with crystals because that's the easiest way to wear them. And because we use our hands to read tarot, to handle the cards, I think the energy would be there, present in the most connected way. So I'm looking into getting rings, but until now I have pieces of moonstones and stuff like that on my table. Okay, so what was I talking about for 5 minutes? Crystals. Cliche there too. But like I said, it's not connected to my tarot readings. I picked them up before I started reading tarot, and most of my family members have lovely pieces of crystals that they don't, they keep holding on to. And they don't read tarot, they don't do anything like that. So my family is quite open to anything that requires an alternative look at. And I think it was before I got sick, because when I got sick, we tried everything. And I mean everything. And, that opened up to me a lot of new experiences. But I think before that, we were even, we had crystals even before I got sick. So I think it just was always there. Okay, 6 tarot books. So I don't have actual physical copies of books yet, because I don't have that much space. I have a lot of books already, and I just don't have that space. But I definitely have a lot on my computer and my Kindle, and I want to go through them because, like Anna said, I love learning about tarot and I love reading how other people read cards, because you can always learn from other people. You don't have to use what you learn, but you never know when you hear a sentence. For example, I was starting with and guidebooks are, you know, a guidebook like this, Llewellyn Tarot guidebook. This is pretty much a book. It's not just a guidebook. And I was starting to reading this yesterday, and I stopped because I don't have a highlighter and I want to make notes, because I do notes in these type of books, especially because I don't think I will ever let go of the Llewellyn. So, you know, it stays, so it's mine. And there was a sentence in this which I so, oh, he may be a fool, but he's not foolish. And I know what the fool means, and I heard that, and I read it, you know, in that way that, yeah, you can be foolish, but putting together in that sentence, for some reason, that was important for me to read that yesterday. So I'm going to make that into, switching up to the next one, tarot journals, into my tarot related notebook journal, which I don't have a lot, as you can see, which I'm using the ring binder system for it, and I made this cover. So I'm going to transfer that sentence here, where I keep notes about all the tarot cards at one place, because I like having that reference book, so to speak, because for some reason that was important. So I like collecting all my knowledge into one place. And I was struggling because I almost ditched the rings binder system and went and moved everything into this Tomware River notebook, because I was like, and I love reading. You know, I'm using fountain pens pretty much exclusively, and I love writing with them. And I was kind of wanting that, you know, pretty, so I already started. I have transferred the full, I wrote up my full notes, and I started with the Magician, but then I was like, but when I get a new deck, I won't be able to add the full, you know, if I find something like that sentence into the full area, because after a while, even if I leave blank pages, it will be filled up. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep the ring system. And I pretty much started yesterday with just making notes in it, and it's Hungarian, so you can't read it. So I'm kind of, you know, I went and I transferred my notes about the crystal cluster, because I kind of, the seller told me which crystals were in it. And I have the Queen of the Moon 6 months in here, the Greenwich Oracle 6 months in, and I'm gonna keep all my bits and pieces that are not in my either personal readings journal. This is my Hogwarts. Can you tell? Can you see? I got this as a gift because Harry Potter, and I keep all my personal readings in it. I don't keep client readings anymore. At first I was keeping it. I had an Excel sheet, and then I moved into Google Keep. But I do a lot of one-card readings, and I type them up over in Google Keep, because I can't type on my phone. Copy and then just archive, but I don't always, you know, I don't keep them in organized as I did, because if I would have returning customers, I guess, I would, you know, if I would do that in a more organized professional tarot practice way, but I don't do that right now. So I'm like, they need to know what their reading is about, not me. My opinion right now. So I don't keep other people's reading. That was what I meant. But I have a separate one for spreads. This is my spreads cover. And I have one for the tiny astrology notes that I'm making, because I'm just making a few, because I want to know the basics, you know, that's related to the cards. I want to know when and how they affect the cards that I'm working with, but I don't have the lifetime to learn astrology. Okay, shuffling, of course I do. I think it's the same as with, if you have a fountain pen in your hand, you're gonna doodle. Or if you have a pen in your hand, you're gonna doodle. if I have a deck around, after a while I'm gonna reach for it and start shuffling because it calms me. I think human mind works best, and you can let your mind wander in a more positive way if part of you is busy with something tactile that you can do. And shuffling is exactly like that. If you shuffle, part of your brain is busy with coordinating the hands and making sure that the cards don't fly, and the other side of your brain, the subconscious part, can just wander and explore. And at least that's how I think it works. I'm not a neuroscientist or anything, but just what my that's what I read when I was reading up on how you make notes, that if you actually make notes, then you can learn more because you do things in a multiple way. And I just kind of came up with that idea. Whatever. Okay, so that was shuffling. Yes, I do love shuffling, and cardstock matters. If you can shuffle, rose petal is lovely to just do this with, but it's a bitch to shuffle. So I appreciate a good cardstock that's easy to shuffle. Fairy lights, where you can't see that because the sun is up, but I even have a little controller for my fairy lights, and for me, this is my nighttime light. I use it when the sun goes down because it has I use a warm yellow set of lights. It gives me that warm feeling in my room, and I used it pretty much all my life. Okay, maybe not, but ever since we realized that you don't need to use them on your Christmas tree alone, I always kept one out. We have glass bottles with fairy lights in them. They give off a nice, warm feeling, and they made me these set of fairy lights, the warm yellows or whites. Sorry, the warm whites remind me of summer, so I kind of have that. So I don't know if it's a cliche for tarot readers. I think a lot of people have them, even if they are not tarot readers. So I'm not necessarily seeing the connection with tarot and fairy lights. I think we just like that. Candles. I do have candles, but I don't really use them. I always wanted to be a candle person, and I have tea lights that I light when I remember on my sacred space, but I don't do that religiously. I don't always remember doing that. I have a candle that was part of my new moon box that I got from my sister, and I only used it a few times because I keep forgetting to light it when it's new moon. So I'm really bad with candles, and I want to be better because I like scented candles. I use them during winter more because it's cold, and candlelight gives you that fake warm sensation. But yeah, I'm not really. I'm not. I don't use incense either that often. I know I should. I mean, I want to do that because I do know that I believe that it does cleanse the space, but I'm just not there yet. And the next one is tarot table. If I have a dedicated space, I have most of the decks that I use here, but this table, I don't just read cards on it. I play jigsaw puzzles on it because this is my only big one, and I'm going to move things around, and my computer is going to go there, and my tarot stuff is going to come here. So it's going to be more of a dedicated space after that, because it's not big enough for me to play jigsaw puzzles, because I have I don't just have 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzles. I have 3,000, and I think I have a bigger one. Most of them are 1,000, but I have a 3,000. Do I have a bigger one? I thought that I had a 5, but maybe not. But anyway, I do love jigsaw puzzles, and during winter I really love playing them. But I put them together, and then one of my favorite things to do is when you just pull the thing apart again. but that's the only table that I have space enough for that. So I paint here. I pretty much do everything on this table. I don't have a dedicated space because for me it's more important to be there in mind, so, I can just sit down and relax. And now I do protection whatever in my head before I do readings, but I don't need to be anywhere. I can do that outside if I want to. So I like the table surface because I can lay them out nicely, but I also film my videos on there, so I don't know if that makes it a dedicated space. I think it's dedicated to whatever I'm doing. But yeah, these were the original ones. I think my only extra bonus thing was the first one that I mentioned at the beginning, which I kind of forgot what it was. But yeah, looking around, is there anything I wanted to say? No, I don't think so. So yeah, it's as long as, as usual. But you know me. If you're here, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and hit that bell, because why not? That helps me. And yeah, if you're still here, you know that I do these videos long because I'm a talker. Who knew? I'm a talker when it comes to talking to a camera, which is quite interesting to me. But yeah, I guess. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.